Sometimes a story can go too long. How do you shorten that? I'm Tina B., Chief Communicator of Tina B. LLC, a public speaking and storytelling coaching company, and I protect audiences from boring speeches. Today's Tuesday Tips is focusing on 5 tips of how you can shorten your story to make the greatest impact. The first tip is you need to understand that when you present a story in oral format, that it's a different form than when you write a story. So spoken or oral communication is different than written communication. Audiences have patience when it comes to sitting down and reading a really good book. In fact, my son read all the Harry Potter series in a mere 3 months because we just can read text, we can revisit text. But when we are presenting and audiences are required to listen to us, it's a lot harder. So resolve the conflict quickly in your story and get to that transformation point in less than 5 minutes. So tip 1 is just note that oral communication or story in oral form is very different than written communication. Tip 2, start as close to the end as possible. Ask yourself, what is your desired outcome for the story? And think about what is that learned lesson, and then build your story from the back to the front. For example, if I were to share a story about my son's perseverance with getting much, much better at golf, I would think in terms of that theme and what his transformation was, start there, and then work my way backwards. So if you can start with the end in mind, then you can do a great job with being able to best present that story. Tip 3, limit the number of characters you have in your story. For confusion, if you have more than 3 or 4 characters in addition to yourself, it just gets harder for you to tell it and to distinguish each character from the other. So too many equals too much. That old mantra of less is more really makes more impact. So say the dialogue, even have those characters have dialogue and show versus tell. So you and 1 or 2 other characters at most will make an efficient, stronger story. Tip 4, keep up the pace. Move quickly, not only in terms of how you're progressing through the story from a plot standpoint, but also from a delivery standpoint. Our ears move quickly, so you need to move fast. Think of those books or those movies. We want to dig in and get into that story fast. We don't want to have it drone on and on and on. Do the same with your story. So keep up that pace. The final tip is edit. Flush out those unnecessary words and details. Let go of the adverbs and use stronger verbs instead. So think of this sentence. I fell harshly while rollerblading on the sidewalk. Now, that harshly is an adverb, but what would be stronger is to say I slammed on the pavement and saw stars. Put us in there, make us feel what you're feeling in a quicker, flushed out way by using verbs and flushing out those unnecessary adjectives and adverbs. So these are my 5 tips. When you're thinking of shortening that story for the greatest impact, understand that oral form is different than written. Start with the end that as possible and limit those characters. Also keep up the pace, and finally edit. Don't forget, for more tips and tools on presentations, public speaking, and storytelling, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Magnetic Speaking with Tina B. And remember to be you and be true. This has been another tip with Tina B.